Hi everyone, welcome to this wonderful podcast. And today we are going to discuss about styling and your dressing sense. And we have a styling coach with us today. Shlomo, why don't you start with the introduction?
Yeah, sure. Is there anything specific that you want to know?
I want to know your journey. How did you even get started? Because styling coach is something, it's definitely an unconventional career. So how did you get started?
Yeah, so I had a lot of challenges socially. Growing up, not as much, like my early adolescence. I always had friends, but something that followed me a lot through, probably through into my 20s is wanting, I don't know, like this, wanting everyone to like me, or maybe it's like wanting certain people to like me. And so like even back in elementary school, I faced kind of a lot of bullying. Like I would bother people who I liked and I wanted them to like me, but obviously that was not a good strategy. I skipped 8th grade and went to high school, and overnight became a bit of a social pariah. I think some of it was, I have ADHD and I had some regression. I think at the time I didn't know that I had ADHD, but I skipped 8th grade, I went to high school, and I regressed. And I, like, especially like social emotionally regressed. And I had a lot of challenges, like fitting in. Like everyone else seemed to get along, everyone else seemed to be friends. And I just couldn't manage. And I had a lot of, like, that was very painful for me. Like, I'm a very social and emotional person, but I didn't have the skills. I didn't know what I needed. Like I knew something was missing, or I felt very strongly that something was missing. And I saw it in other people, but I couldn't quite figure it out in myself. I'm an artist, so I've been drawing forever. And okay. I think that's a piece of why I latched onto more of the aesthetic component, the way people looked. But I noticed that, the guys who were cool, they, either they dressed a certain way, or, it was probably like little comments picked up here and there, like somebody getting a compliment on something or a compliment on something else. And I put those two things together, like if I can dress a certain way, then I can fit in, then I can be cool, then I can be accepted.
Okay.
And that, that started my journey.
Interesting. But usually what happens when people go through bullying is, of course, they think maybe something is wrong with my social skills or something is wrong with the way I converse. Why styling specifically? I mean, I get it that you were an artist, but there must have been two dots that connected in your brain and said, okay, if I dress differently, maybe I can make a different impact on people. Did you see someone specifically that you loved their style and you wanted to perhaps fit in?
I think part of it is I've always been attracted to like characters. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that I looked around and saw like kind of the individual pieces. It was almost like I saw like the character, like, oh, this is like the cool guy. So okay. What does the cool guy look like? How do they behave? What do they do? Almost from like an acting or movie sense. Mm-hmm. Like I've always been very interested in actors. I've always been very interested in cartoon and media in general, and how a character is given over, how a character behaves. I think that was a part of it, was this understanding that like the way people see me is sort of as this character, and that's the cool guy. Like, how do I become that? I don't know that I could have articulated all of this back then.
Okay.
But I think that 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 was a big part of the process, was, looking out and saying, okay, well, like the cool guys have these components. So yeah, and it's also some of it is just what was like what I picked up on socially.
Okay.
It's hard to say that like that was what was valuable around me socially, because you could also say that it might be what I noticed. That's why I mentioned like being an artist. I'm interested in aesthetics. That's what I'm paying attention to. It's what I've always been paying attention to. So it could be that those compliments stood out, right? Like those lit up, right? When you look out in media, we filter for the things we're interested in. So those things lit up, that lit up as a way to, gain some sort of social credence or fitting in or belonging, or at least I thought so at the time. It never really panned out. Yeah, I mean, so this is and we'll get to, the way that I view style now, but back then, it was like, if I could just own the right thing, if I remember a friend of mine, we were in my dorm room, and one of the guys, I guess I must have been in my friend's dorm room because I was never roommates with this guy, but he had, some Burberry ties from his uncle. And, people were like, ooh, I like Burberry. Whoa, wow, amazing. And I was like, oh, okay. So like, if I get a Burberry tie, then that will be it, right? Like, then I'll be cool. Then people ooh and ah over me, right? Like, I'll get the compliment, I'll get the recognition, like that will mean something. But like, you're missing the forest for the trees, right?
Yeah.
That's not quite what it is. It's like probably what was happening is they liked him and he cared about this, so they cared about that, so that he would like that, right? Like it's more of that dynamic. But I had that kind of idea going forward in those years. So when people were wearing colorful socks, I was like, okay, well, if I can just have like the cool colorful socks, then like I'll fit in and I'll be normal, and people will see me as cool. And that just never happened. That's not how that pans out. That's not how that plays out. Nobody really cares. People love to criticize. And when you make the fixes or changes that they recommend, they don't notice, because they're not there to help you. They're there to criticize you. So when you quote unquote fix something about yourself, the critical people just find the next thing, because it was never about you. It was about, like they got some vibe from you that they didn't like, and so they had to find something to point at.
Okay.
Like, I don't like you, but I can't say I don't like you. I have to not like something about you.
That's how I think bullying works. When they're insecure about themselves, they just end up projecting.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's always just bullying. I think in just normal interaction, there's so many things that people say in just normal interaction that come from that place. There's just like, there's something, or you brought up something within them where they're uncomfortable. Yeah. Like, oh, you did something that I don't feel comfortable doing, so I have to make you feel uncomfortable, so we match. I think there's a lot of that. But yeah, so going forward through that process, right? Like I'm trying to fit in, and I'm trying to, learn about how to do this. I know, like I'd get comments like, oh, you look like you're trying too hard.
Okay.
And so it's like, okay, like how do I obviously need to try, because this thing doesn't come naturally to me, right? Style didn't come naturally to me. So I'm like, okay, I have to try this thing. I have to learn about this thing. But I have to also look like I'm not trying. Like, how do I do that? So like that became like this next layer, right? Like, and you're moving forward more and more just, oh, how do I look like I'm not trying? But again, the people who are telling you like you're trying too hard, there's no way to get good at something without trying.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Maybe they're trying to hold you back. Maybe there could be 100 other motivations, and probably most of them are unconscious. They're probably not consciously thinking about like whatever it is that bothered them about what you're doing. But you know, those sorts of comments. So like that, the process, it wasn't like I got a bunch of recognition through the process, right? I didn't reach my goal of like impressing other people. And at the time, like throughout all of that was where my focus was, right? My focus was on other people. Like everyone has something I don't have. I'm missing something. Like there's something broken about me. I didn't really like myself very much. So it was like, okay, how can I be another person? How can I not be me? Because me isn't working. Like nobody likes me. I don't like me. I wouldn't want to be friends with me. How can I be someone else who they want to be friends with, right?
Yeah.
That was like a big part of the early end of, you know, me getting into style. So, you know, like I'm learning the rules, and I'm trying to, you know, learn like what's cool, what's in, what, you know, reading magazines like GQ, and you know what's trending, what's happening, you know, looking around at my friends and seeing what they're wearing, you know, what are the, you know, rich kids wearing, what are the cool guys wearing, how can I, you know, pull that in. And yeah, like I said, like that didn't pan out. So at a certain point though, I started to like get a grasp of style and like start to really understand what it was about, and almost, I wouldn't say like move ahead, but in a way, yeah, like move ahead. Because most people, there are, have you ever seen the bell curve?
Yeah.
There's like innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, laggards, right? So I would probably have been in the laggards in the beginning. Originally, because I think I was very unaware. I think if it hadn't had social ramifications, I might not have caught onto it. Like I said, I was creative, I was artistic, but I didn't have that kind of like HD view of the world. Like I didn't see it, I didn't value it, I didn't think about my appearance very much back then. And then I kind of like moved into like the late majority. Yeah. Right. So that was where I spent a lot of that time, was like this like late majority. Why don't people like what I'm doing? I'm doing what everyone's doing, but it's like, yeah, but you're the late majority. Okay. You know, kind of moved into the early majority. That's when, you know, started getting into more fashion stuff. That's when you get kind of more into that early majority place. And I think around the time I started getting there, where I knew things, and I think people who I had been looking to, I noticed that they were making, you know, certain mistakes, like maybe they didn't know. And I was like, okay, so I'm starting to get a grasp of this thing. I'm starting to really get this. And that gave me a certain confidence that allowed me to actually start to like parts of myself. And then that let me snowball. And not all of this was positive and pleasant, right? We're talking about a lot of like, these are like years of just like a lot of emotional pain, and a lot of, you know, like when you get to that place of, okay, I can accept this part of myself, let me see like other parts. Those are painful, scary parts. Like there's a reason you didn't accept them before. There's a reason you didn't like say things out loud and examine them, because they're painful, they're scary, they're, you know, there's a sense of danger there. And so like over those years, I was, you know, doing a lot of self-development alongside, but it all kind of went together. And on the other end, I came out with, oh, okay, like I don't want to look to everyone else. Like I can be my own person. I can look within myself. I can actually see myself. I had such a hard time seeing me, like seeing my identity. I had a much easier time seeing everyone else and just seeing what I didn't have, but I couldn't see like what I had. And so through this process, I started to actually be able to see what I had and appreciate it and be okay with it. But I would say the biggest turning point, it's funny because I gained a lot of confidence. I was in a really good place This was like, let's say post high school, like 6 years after high school about.
Okay.
And like, this was a little bit before I got married. Like I was in a good place, and then I got married, and then I came across a creator, Tanner Guzzi, and he had this system of archetypes, and it gave, I think in a certain way, it gave language to a lot of the things that I had figured out, but it also, it expanded style from sort of this like list of rules into something more psychological and expansive. And so, yeah, it was like, it's funny because like I had gotten to this good place, like confidence wise.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like after I got married, I found this, and that really, really expanded things and really, really brought me to like a much more passionate point. I think I had already wanted to do something with styling. Like I had already wanted to, you know, this had changed my life. I felt much better about myself. Like this had worked for me, not in the way I expected, right? I had expected it to help me fit in, and it had actually helped me, you know, be my own person and accept myself. So, you know, that already felt really powerful. But you know, his approach with the archetypes and that system, it opened it up to, you know, something that was more teachable, and I think more growth focused just from the onset. Like instead of it, you know, like for me, I had to go through all of that, and then I grew on the other end. But this was more of, we're going to start from a growth focus. Like we're going to enter this from a growth mindset, and then the process is going to come from that. We're going to like, you're going to understand your style faster because we're focusing on understanding yourself first and kind of translating that all at the same time.
Honestly, it makes a lot of sense, right? You started with having a goal in mind that I want to fit in, but then you discovered a lot about yourself. And I think that's where I wanted to follow up and understand. Styling is all about the exteriors, but how did you fix the internal self before you started teaching people? Because of course you also dive into the psychology of styling. We'll get into those archetypes and all of that, but how did you fix the interiors? How did you accept those parts that you disliked?
Yeah, I like I said, I was always different. I think I always felt different, but it was also reflected back to me. Like it was just a reality I couldn't escape, right? You know, like I wanted to be normal, I wanted to fit in, but nothing I liked was normal, right? Like I was an artist. Nobody around me was into art. Like everyone played sports, right? Like it was just like guys, right? I was surrounded by like just like dude bros. I mean, not necessarily, obviously all of the people around me were, you know, multifaceted people, but mainly it was, you know, the media they were interested in was like sports and action movies, and they weren't, you know, reading comic books, reading manga, watching cartoons. Like to this day, like I love cartoons. I love animation. I find those media to be, I don't know, in a certain way more expressive. They're able to express more internals, where I think, you know, in a live action, there's a certain limitation to how much, because we're kind of seeing the surface, and we always see the surface, right? Like when we talk to people, we see their surface emotions. So in a movie, maybe they can over exaggerate an emotion, but you know, at a certain point, it starts to feel fake. It starts to feel odd. In a show, they can really like get into like, you know, in a like a cartoon, they can really like the person isn't emoting, like they are the emotion, right? Like it really gets into that. So yeah, I like that. I liked video games, like and like, but only the nerdiest video games. Like I love Pokemon. Like I just
everyone
like
loves Pokemon. Come on.
No, incorrect. If everyone loved Pokemon, I would have had a very different life. You know, like I played like Yu-Gi-Oh a lot growing up. Like I liked the nerdy stuff. Like I enjoyed it. It appealed to me. And it's also funny, like again, with that, I was always a little bit behind. I always felt a little bit behind. You know, there were like my friends who were just on things a lot earlier. Like I would go back and watch shows that were maybe like not age appropriate. Like I would go kind of backwards because like I hadn't seen them. right? Like, you know, other people had maybe like watched Power Rangers like younger, and I like watched them, you know, a little older.
How did you accept these different parts of yourself?
Yeah. So like I said, I was very aware of that kind of difference. And again, with the like looking outwards, it was just like, okay, everyone's different than me. And so like, I thought like, oh, I'm not doing this right. And, you know, I also come from like a very religious background. And so there's like a lot of, you know, you need to be this way, you should be this way, you know, these are the goals. And, you know, even though like now as I'm getting older, I'm finding more alignment with that. I think at that age, it wasn't maybe, I'm glad I got a lot of that messaging back then because I need it now, but it was hard at the time because I wasn't maybe like ready to take action or ready to be in that place. There was just all the messaging that was coming at me was like my underlying interpretation was like, you're not enough. You're not right. You're not doing this right. You know, you're not valuing the right things. You don't like the right things. You don't behave the right way. You don't say the right things. You're just like everything about me was like wrong. And whether or not people were saying that overtly, which definitely happened, but it was like the underlying buzz. It was like, you know, why can't you just be normal? Why can't you just do it? Why can't you just why can't you just? And I think with style and learning about that, there were certain times that I can point to, like I was in the airport flying home from Israel, and I bought, like, I would always buy like a GQ and an Esquire for the flight. Like, it's a 15-hour flight, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a GQ, I'm gonna get an Esquire. I'll probably watch
what is that?
GQ and Esquire.
Yeah, what are those?
So they're fashion magazines.
Okay.
I'm not really a fan of them anymore. I think they've taken. I don't really think they're. Maybe Esquire. I haven't read an Esquire in a while. I don't really think they're for men anymore. They're not really about men's fashion. They're meant to be. They still call themselves men's fashion magazines, but they're not really catering to men anymore. So I would buy those magazines and read them on the flight. And I remember, you know, there was this article about, you know, this spring, you know, knit ties, like that's what's coming down the pipeline. You know, people are going to be wearing knit ties, and nobody around me was doing that. And I'm like, okay, well, like I can get on ahead of this. So, you know, I went out and I bought some knit ties, and then people were making comments about it, but I'm like, but I know, like GQ put their stamp of approval on this. So like, I know I'm doing the right thing. And I think that was it's funny because it's so silly looking back. Like, it's such a silly thing looking back, because like, who cares what GQ thinks? Like now looking back, I'm like, who cares what GQ thinks? Like, they said knit ties were coming in, like who cares? But I was able to rely on that authority. And that was almost like it was like this time when, like, I'm right and you're wrong. And I think until then, everything was, if you're telling me I'm wrong, then I must be wrong. Because like, I'm wrong about everything. Like, like I don't fit anywhere. I don't know anything. Everyone else has it figured out and I don't. So like, if you're telling me something, that must be right. And like, lead me, please. And it was like, I crossed this barrier of, oh wait, like I can know something that someone else doesn't.
Yeah.
I can, in this case, rely on a higher authority, but, you know, over time and now and in my work, my goal is always to like become your own authority, right? Like don't rely on other people. Learn enough to look inside yourself and be your own authority. But back then, that was a big step for me. So yeah, like that, it was like a lot of those little steps.
Okay.
These like little steps that taught me important lessons, that taught me important life lessons of, I can like something and someone else doesn't have to, right? Like the same way they didn't like this tie, they don't have to like that I don't like sports, or they don't have to like that I draw, or they don't have to like what I draw, or they don't have to like what I choose to do. Like, I can just be,
Yeah.
and I can like the things I like, and they can say the things they say, and I don't have to feel any way about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a big thing, was I felt a kind of way about everything, and I felt strongly, and I over-identified with those, emotions, and I felt like everything had to move me. Like, everything was this big personal affront, and also like a reprimand. Like, oh, I've done something wrong, so like I'm gonna lash out because I'm defensive, but then I need to go fix myself because clearly there's another thing I need to work on. Yeah, that was so. It was a lot of like those little steps along the road, which is why in my work now, like, I'm not just a stylist. I don't want to just walk in. It's coaching. Like, it's walking through, so that, like, I never sat down with anyone, and I had to have these epiphanies myself. I think having someone, if I had someone to guide me through that and sit down and ask, like, question those thoughts, like, what do you mean, like, what if they're wrong? That never occurred to me. What, like, someone could be wrong? Like, I don't know me, and they're positing something, like, they must know more than I do. It's like, no, like,
I get that. But I think now that I listen to this, a question that came to my mind is, you have children, right? You have a son or a daughter?
So I have 3 kids. I have my oldest is 9.
Okay.
I have a boy, 9. I have a girl who's 6, and then I have another boy who's 4.
Okay, so if any of your kids were facing this, like they went through what you went through in your high school, what advice would you give them as a father?
I mean, it's funny, as a parent, I do give my I try to give my children a lot of this advice that I've come to through my experiences, and I look back at some of the advice that I was given throughout the years, that maybe it was like a cliche. It didn't mean anything at the time until I experienced it and learned the lesson. So I think it would be very easy for me to give an answer like, oh, I would tell them this, I would tell them that. I think ideally, hopefully, my parenting will lead to this, and I'll, be able to, like, I'll have forged strong relationships with my children. I think more than just telling is to be able to sit in the really difficult stuff that your kids are going through, and like be there with them. There weren't really a lot of people who did that for me. Like, I didn't feel comfortable telling my parents or telling any authority figures just anything that was going on with me at any point in high school. Like, there was no one I felt like I could sit down with and just be heard and understood. So yeah, that was also something that changed a little bit throughout this journey, was like there were more people like that I was able to do that with. So I wouldn't say style was like the only thing, but it was a big part. It was a big catalyst. It taught a lot of lessons through action. But back to, your question, I think more than just like telling them, it would be more like being available for them to tell me an experience, and then trying to pull forth the lesson through, curious. Like, instead of saying like, oh, can't you see from this thing, if you had just this, right? It's like bringing like more questions, like, okay, so you did this and that happened. Like, what if you did this instead? Like, what do you think would have happened if you'd done that instead? Oh, well, this and that. Okay. Like, with that, you can kind of walk them through that scenario versus like just doing. So yeah, I mean, obviously I do try to instill, some of these lessons into my children, but It's funny because like I said with the telling, the other day my son was just like like, what do you always talk about feelings? Stop. I don't want you to talk about my feelings right now. Like, it's just, that's all you talk about is how people feel, how might they feel, and how do I feel. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think like, again, like that, like that's like advice that I'll like give him, and then he's just like, but stop. That's not what I want right now. It's like, okay, what do you want? What do you need?
I get that. I mean, they will understand when they grow up. And how will you teach them to embrace their own unique identities?
Yeah, I think we definitely foster that as much as we can.
Okay.
In our house. Something I've noticed that like I'm working on is it's very easy as a parent to influence your children. So let's say like I draw and I'm creative, and so that's something I pay attention to. And so my kids, like all of my kids kind of picked up drawing in some sense or another. You know, they do drawing tutorials and they like to draw and they do different things. And like I give feedback, like I give positive, oh wow, that's so great. Like, you know, oh, you're getting so much better. Look, that's awesome. You know, like, oh, this isn't good. Why isn't this good? It's like, hey, we're here to practice. Like, you can do it again. If it's not good, first of all, it's good, it's fine. And secondly, like, it's practice. If you stop now because it's not good, you will never get good. You have to keep going.
Yeah.
And so, but each of my children has their own interests. Mm-hmm. Like, there are things that, like, they leave the house, they go to school, they have friends, they have experiences. Most of their experiences are not with me. And so they could become interested in or like any number of things that are not my interests.
Yeah.
And I think something that's like a funny trap of, like, it's almost like because I accepted my interests and now I'm okay with them, now I think that they're great and I want to share them with people. Yeah. And so now I've fallen into like that trap of, okay, no, I have to take a step back and not push my interests on my children. Like, I don't, like, I need to take that step back and like hear them and figure out what they're into and hear them with what they're into and try to foster that. It's I mean, and if you want to bring that back to style, you could say like that self-awareness, that all came from this journey, right? Mm-hmm. That all came from like that brought me, you know, here to here to here to here to here. Like, personal development it doesn't end. And I'm sure you have this, I would imagine, like with your speaking.
Yes.
Like once you figure, like, I know you've talked about, so like you were more anxious and shy, and so you start to focus on communication. But now that you've done that and you've improved yourself, I would imagine there's like 50 other pathways that opened up, and you're like, I need to, like, now I see that I'm mediocre in all these ways, and now I need to fix like, you just, or I don't know about mediocre, but like I need to. I'm not saying mediocre as a negative. I'm saying mediocre as just like a reality, right? Like if you take bad pictures, like if you're a mediocre photographer, but you want to be a photographer, that's not a bad thing that you're mediocre. It's just like, okay, well, now I know that I need to pay attention to my aperture and my lighting and my whatever. And
I mean, I get that, but recently I've picked up this book called Tuesdays with Maury, and it's a great book. First of all, you should definitely read it. It's about this person who is dying of ALS and his body stops working. And he talks about self-acceptance in this beautiful way that we cannot fix everything, but if we focus on our strengths and we just keep working on that one aspect, that is what is going to give us the ultimate satisfaction. Because we'll always have weaknesses. Everybody does. Yeah. It's impossible to fix everything. Yeah. And since you focus a lot on the psychological aspect of styling also, Why do you think there is so much stigma around men dressing well or men styling themselves? Because when women spend 1 hour, 2 hours on picking out a dress and really thinking about what to wear for a particular event, why is it not the same with men? Why is it almost expected by society to wear the first thing you see and, I don't know, go wherever?
Yeah. I think there's a few components. I think there's a few pieces to it.
Mm-hmm.
So historically, the way that you dress has been more decided for you, right? You know, it's been more like class oriented, right? The working class dresses this way and the upper class dresses that way. And there's all these rules, you know, you wear this during the day and you wear that at night. It used to be much more structured, and there were, you know, like people dress this way. And so there's that component, you know, and in probably starting with like the 60s, that started to be challenged and broken down, at least in America. I would imagine it happened in different ways across the world.
Yeah.
But there was this challenge of the status quo. But in that way, style was, I don't express myself, I express my role.
Okay.
I express my station,
mm-hmm.
right? Like it's not expressing me. It's not my like emotions or my interests. It's you know, like I express my station, and then that was challenged with, you know, like we're all people, we're all equal. Like we don't, like why, because you dress like this, you're better than me. Like that. So that was challenged. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Okay.
It definitely. I think there's something to the value of, you know, self-respect and dressing in a way that's self-respectful, but that, you know, that's not what classism is about.
Yeah.
And then, so that kind of broke down, but it wasn't really replaced by anything. So it was just like, okay, the way you dress doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. And that we've kind of been taking that a step further each decade. I think also in the 80s, there was, you know, the value of not caring. Like, okay. I think it started a lot with Gen X, this kind of idea of you need to look like you don't care. Not even just effortless, because I think there's two kinds of effortlessness. There's effortlessness, which is like you just pull it off, like you just seem perfect, and you just don't break a sweat, right? You're just everything all at once without breaking a sweat is one way of looking effortless. But then there's the other way, which is like you're just slovenly, you're just literally don't put in effort. And I think I think people are attracted to successful people who don't put in effort, who look like they don't put in effort.
Mm-hmm.
But that idea became very pervasive of like, you can't look like you're putting in effort. You can't look like you care. If you succeed, it kind of has to be because you're so amazing, you're so talented. It can't be because you worked really hard. And if you did work really hard, no one can see that. Otherwise, you lose your status. Like if you look like you worked hard and you achieved, then your achievement kind of loses its luster. It's not something to be looked up to.
Okay.
If you're just so talented, you're just, oh my gosh, the world couldn't tell you no, right?
So that's why, because of different classes.
Well, that's definitely part of it. So that's, I think, where that breakdown happened. Those are like parts of the breakdown.
Okay.
I think you mentioned with men and women. I think one of the reasons why like women, it hasn't broken down as much is because for women, the focus was more on being attractive, being beautiful.
Okay.
It wasn't about, you know, status signaling as much. Now, of course, women have their own status signals, and women are, you know, signaling to each other, you know, their own status, and that's all happening. But I think socially at large, like female beauty has been valued. Okay. Whereas like male beauty wasn't. So for men dressing well, it wasn't about beauty to begin with, and for women it was. So that value never went away, but the value of like status and like outranking everyone, that sort of went out of vogue. So like, I think my approach, and there's a lot of people who work with women, there's a lot of, women stylists who take this, similar approaches as well of, self-acceptance, self-expression, it coming from you and not being about being beautiful to everyone or impressing people, or like that it doesn't come from that place. For most of society, that's not really there, for men or women. But I think and that's another reason why I think it's less acceptable for men, right? Like, because women are seen as caring about it for vanity, which is really not fair, because like society's putting it on them. Society's basically like, if you're not beautiful, we're just gonna, your life's gonna suck. And then when they work really hard to be beautiful, then it's like, oh, you're just shallow. You just,
it is. I get that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of the men's style and women's style are very different. They're not really comparable, and the male experience, the female experience, different, not comparable. But I think that we both suffer in different ways for different reasons.
Yeah.
But like I said, the reason why it's okay for women to care is because it's almost like they have to.
Okay.
Whereas for men, we're not supposed to be beautiful, and we're no longer supposed to kind of like flex our status, and we're no longer supposed to look like we put in effort. So when you take those things away, there's no reason to get dressed. So men and women who are dressing for self-expression are, I don't know about equally rare, because I think because it's more acceptable, there are more women who get into fashion and then get to the place of self-acceptance and self-expression.
Yeah.
But men never kind of get on that road, or like way less men get on that road, because there's all these barriers of like, it's not manly to dress. It's caring about your appearance is for women, and all style is all vanity, and that's just not. It's just not true. It's just fundamentally untrue. That's like saying, women communicate and men don't communicate, because communication is all vanity and communication is just for women. It's silly. They're both forms of communicating who you are to the outside world. Okay. Communicating your identity to the outside world. We don't see in each other's heads. We hear each other's words. We see each other's actions. We see each other's appearance. We're creating a picture of someone with the information that we have. And so the more of that information that you are intentional about and that you take control of, and I'm not saying control, because we still can't control how people interpret that. Yeah. Right? But the more we're able to be intentional and try to be honest with that, to look inside ourselves and say, okay, like, who are we becoming? Like, who am I becoming? Who do I want to be? And then, what does that look like? What does that sound like? How does he behave? What does he say? That, again, back to that character development, right? When people say like, oh, it builds character. I think that we've lost the plot. And this actually comes back to, so like I think I told you before, I need to let you talk more, but I babble.
I am here to listen.
I still, all these years later, I still do ADHD info dumping, and I'm like, I just try to catch myself. I'm like, oh man, okay. I just steamrolled everyone, just steamrolled them again. Oh well.
I'm here to listen to your journey.
I know.
So, no pressure. Also, tell me about
I'm having a good time. I hope you're having a good time.
I'm having a wonderful time. And just tell me about how confidence in styling is linked. Is it linked, or is that a misconception?
I think there's a link, but it's not what people think it is.
Okay.
And I was gonna mention your other podcast with Ashwin Mushran. He's an actor, and I haven't finished it, but it's really good so far. And he touched on when you asked him certain questions about acting and emotional regulation and, how acting has impacted his life, he spoke about, when I'm in a bad mood or however I'm feeling inside, right? There's kind of three components. It's like how I'm feeling inside, what I say, and how I behave, I think were what he said were the three parts.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I think that a lot of people think that authenticity is the way I'm feeling inside is reflected in how I behave and, what I say.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're trying to change the inside first. So they're trying to say, oh, I need to feel confident first. And then once I feel confident, then I will speak confidently and behave confidently. And I used to believe this too. Like this was, throughout this story, I had a lot of thoughts like that. Like I had a lot of beliefs like that. I have to be this first.
Mm-hmm.
I have to get here first. I'm not allowed to be this until I'm this, right? Like I'm not allowed to be confident. Like I'm not a confident person because I don't feel confident. They are confident. They're behaving confident because they feel confident. I think it's very easy to wrap these things up. And I would imagine in your work, you probably have a lot of people who believe this, and you're probably debunking this right and left.
It does. That's a common misconception that people have. But does wearing better clothes make you feel more confident?
Yeah. So there's a few layers to this, but if we can look at it from like the communication lens first, right?
Okay.
Why does someone feel more confident when they speak more confidently? Mm-hmm. Right? When they start to behave, right? You're not teaching them how to feel confident. You're teaching them how to behave confident.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, so when you're confident, you speak slower. Just take a deep breath and like lower the speed of your speech. And like you don't have to just like say everything all at once, and you don't have to speak as fast as you can. And like that's what nervousness feels like. That's what nervousness looks like. It doesn't matter if you're feeling nervous. Slow down, speak slower, right?
Yeah.
And then they start to feel more confident. The anxiety goes away because they're speaking slower, because they're behaving slower, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're teaching them a behavior, a chosen behavior, and that is changing how they feel. Oh, but they're anxious, so that's authentic. They should be authentic. Like, no.
Okay.
Right. Like you can be confident without feeling confident. So I think style, in a very similar vein, is when you like the same way when I say what I want to say, the way I want to say it, when I wear what I want to wear, that says what I want to say, the way I want to say it. Even if like, and I still have this every once in a while. I'll get something new. I'll try something new. And, I always push myself to test it. And, like I'll wear something new and I'll go out, I'll live my day. I don't care about what people say. I'm not worried about what people are thinking, but I think most people are. So let's kind of enter it from that. So, if I'm worried about what people think, I come back at the end of the day and I evaluate whether, was that good? Was that bad? Did I like it? Maybe was there this problem and I can just fix that? Or like, is this piece is this just not me? It's not actually my style.
Okay. Tell me about this evaluation more. How do you evaluate objectively?
Yeah. I don't know if it's objective, but I definitely want to touch on that. I want to see if I can finish like this train before because I don't want to get into that and lose that. Yeah. But so again, I may not have started the day confident about that thing, but I went out and I wore it and I saw how I felt about it. I didn't look in the mirror in the morning, not feel confident and take it off. Right? The same way that with the behaviors, like you have to do them. Yeah. So you go out, you live your day. Don't worry, the world will not end if you wear a bad outfit. In fact, most of the people who don't care about style, they're wearing bad outfits every day. So like, oh no, you're wearing a bad outfit that you thought about. how terrible. And then you go through your day and you see, like, did this make me more confident? Like, as I got comfortable in this, did this say what I wanted to say, right? Like, you see how it makes you feel by behaving it, by doing it, by living it. And then, as you do more of that, you start to get an idea of, what will suit you, like what you will like. You can kind of start to see that more, not just by actually trying it, but looking out in the world and saying, like, well, okay, I like this for this reason, so I might like that. Let's try that.
Okay, but how do you know that? Like, let's say you're really into anime and a lot of cartoons. So what is stopping you from wearing a Dragon Ball Z t-shirt and going everywhere?
Yeah, it's funny. There's another communication analogy. Like, place and time are important. Context is important.
Yeah.
The way that you speak to your friends, first of all, the way that you speak to your best friend, your closest friend, who knows the most about you, is different than the way you speak to, your more casual friends. You might tell them more things. You might show more of yourself. You show a different side of yourself to your parents, to your siblings, to your boss. That's not inauthentic. That's not fake. But like, that is healthy. It is healthy for your persona to adjust to people. Like, it's healthy. It's polite. Not even polite. I think polite's not the right word, but it's the way you're meant to interact.
Yeah.
And so when you say, okay, I like anime, so I'm going to wear this anime t-shirt, but when you wear it in the wrong context, like, if that's the case, like, great, but wear it in the right context.
True.
Like, that context might be hanging out with your friends on a Sunday. Like, nobody's asking you to wear a 3-piece suit with your friends on a Sunday. That's bad style. Like, don't go to the beach in a suit. People get really, really hung up on, like, style has to look a certain way.
Yeah.
But there's so much out there. There's so much out there that is style, and you just have to understand, like, what is appropriate, and then where do I fit into that sort of range. And yeah, like with the anime t-shirt, it's just knowing, okay, this is a side of myself. I don't have to share this with everyone.
Okay.
It's not for everyone. Maybe it's not for a professional context. Maybe in the professional world, I want to bring something else out. I want to go to work and I want people to see that I'm warm and friendly and that they want to collaborate with me. I want them to see that I'm competent and that the skills that I bring to the table and the work that I do, I want to frame that positively. I want people to see my work and my interactions in a professional light.
Yeah.
You're just not going to get that with an anime t-shirt. That's not what an anime t-shirt says. What an anime t-shirt says is, I want to be comfortable right now, and I like anime, and I like this anime. That is great when that is the goal.
Okay, so find the
with
goal
your friends who love anime, watching anime, and you're wearing your anime t-shirt, great. That's the right place. Or in the gym, maybe in the gym, you're like, no, I don't want anyone to talk to me, but if they do, it should just be about anime. Right? Like, I can wear this in the gym. And that's not to say, like, hide it away and only wear it when you work out. You can think about what you want to wear in the gym too. Like, you can be intentional there too. I think style is a habit of intentionality. It's about thinking about the different parts of your life and what side of yourself you want to bring to that on a macro level, like overall, but also on a micro scale. Also on a, okay, like, this meeting is different than that meeting, or this event is different than that event, or like this speech is different than that speech. And obviously this is challenging, and this is something that, like, this is a big part of what I help my clients with, is there should be a through line of who I am, where across all of my contexts and events, I can sort of put all those together and people can see almost like a TV character, right? Like, if you watch like a season of a show, there's like 24 episodes and maybe a character's wearing 1 to 3 outfits in an episode.
Yeah.
But how do we know that that's the character? Like, what feels right for the character? What feels off for the character? They don't wear the same outfit every time. There's something that's being communicated. There's some through line, there's some connection between everything that they wear, where we go, okay, that is saying a variation of the same thing. Like I'm seeing more of this side of them and less of that side, or I'm seeing this other side, but it all makes sense. It's all sort of connected.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I never noticed that.
Like that's really what it's about. I just dropped my pen. Where'd it go? That's what it's really about. It's like if I can't say that much, like that's a problem with me, right? Like if I can only talk about one subject, is that everyone else's problem or is that my problem? Shouldn't I have more subjects? Where everyone's like, oh, don't judge people by their appearance. Don't judge a book by their cover. People aren't books. They're multifaceted.
Yeah.
And like, you're not one book with one cover. You need to know the story you want to tell and design your cover accordingly. And I think anyone who says don't judge a book by their cover has never written a book, because the amount of time and effort and work that they put into it, like marketing is not manipulation. It is how can I communicate about this as clearly as I can? And when you look at the book, if the author has not communicated to you what is in the book in a way that is honest, and you read the book and it's not the book you were expecting, like, that is a failure, and that's a failure.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't read the book. Maybe the best book on earth, I don't read it because the cover was designed poorly. Oh, but don't judge the book by its cover. No, your cover should tell me what is in your book.
Absolutely.
The contents of the book didn't change. If that's something that's interesting to me, then if you just told me this is what's in this book, even if your cover wasn't necessarily nice, but you just literally told me this is what's in the book, and I said, I'm interested in that, I want to know that, I'd read that book.
That makes sense. So, I mean, it's all about communicating the right story. But I have a question over here. Let's say there's a scenario. It's a professional meeting. Somebody has to go to a professional meeting. They have 3 suit choices. One is sort of a maroon blazer. Another is a gray blazer. And the third one is a black one. So black is, of course, black or navy blue is a very cliche thing most people wear in meetings. Red is something which is resonating personally with this person. And gray, they're kind of like in the middle about. Which suit would you recommend them to choose? Which blazer?
Who are they meeting with?
Let's say it's an important professional meeting. It could be, I don't know, with the founders of a company, or maybe they're pitching to investors, whatever.
They have to think about who am I supposed to be in this meeting?
Okay.
They have to ask themselves, certain questions like, is this meeting about me? Right? Am I supposed to be the center? Would it be rude to steal attention? So sometimes good style is not the style people notice. Sometimes good style is actually fitting in, like at a wedding, right? Like, don't outdress the groom. I actually I went to a friend of mine's engagement party, and people were congratulating me. They thought I was the groom. Like they thought I was the guy who got engaged because I looked really nice. And I realized, I shouldn't bring it to this level. Like, I know for me it's fun, but I need to step it back a notch. Like I should be toning it down because it's not my day.
Okay.
Right. So that's an important question. Am I meant to be the center of attention at this meeting, or am I stealing someone else's spotlight? If I'm not, probably the black or navy. I want to fade into the background. I want to be like, I'm at the meeting. I need to look nice, but I'm not demanding attention.
Yeah.
Am I the presenter? Like, am I at the front? Then maybe that would be maybe do choose the, slightly bolder piece.
Okay.
But also, who am I presenting to? Are they going to understand, like, am I presenting something creative and interesting and different? Am I in a field that is creative and interesting and different? Like, are the investors, will they appreciate that? Or will this sabotage me? You know, is this something that's, like there are times when, again, like the same way I speak to my mother differently than I speak to my friends.
Yeah.
Does that mean that I'm holding back when I'm talking to my mother, or that I'm being direct? Like, you have to know, like, who do I have to be here? Am I going to lose this business opportunity if they think that I'm too bold? Oh, but they should accept me for who I am, right? Like the rabid individualist would say, like, I don't care what you think, but that's not real life.
Okay.
I mean, you have to ask yourself, like, in this scenario, is this the kind of thing where this is a risk you want to take? Like, is there an upside, right? Is there an upside? Okay, you know, these investors, I think they're pretty stuffy, but maybe kind of throwing them off their guard, being unexpected, will, you know, they'll hear my pitch. You have to have a value. You have to have a goal and intention.
Yeah.
Not just, you know, suits are stuffy, I don't want to be stuffy. Because if everyone else in the meeting is stuffy, and you're like, I don't want to be stuffy, you're basically saying, I don't want to be you. You guys are losers. I don't want to be like you guys. And then, and you're supposed to be convincing them to, you know, I don't know, invest in you or work with you or whatever it is. You have to show the right side, and that's not lying, unless of course you're like, if you're a total flake and you never get anything done, and you show up to a meeting looking super serious and competent, and you put on your most competent front, then yeah, that's lying. But if you can get the job done, but you might lose the job if you don't, quote unquote, you know, like, look right. There is a competent and conformist part of you, and you can just bring that out that day, and that's okay. And if there isn't that person, if like, maybe you know yourself, and like, then you probably don't own a black or a navy blazer to begin with, or you shouldn't, right? Like, if you are just like like if you're Chris Do, like he's wearing, you know, blazers and skirts and drop crotch pants and platform shoes, and he's not going into the meeting necessarily like worrying about what people think. It's just like, I'm good. Like, take it or leave it, but I'm here. But that's not the reality for most people.
But how do you get to that stage?
How do you get to that stage? I mean, to get to the real take it or leave it stage, I think there's a few parts. I think you either have to be really, really, really clear on who you work with.
Okay.
In which case, like, once again, take it or leave it. Like, I know that I'm going to attract the person that I want with this vibe. Not in like a manipulative way, but like that it's not getting in the way. Or you just have to have, like, like someone like Chris Do, so he's very successful. He has a lot of years under his belt. He has a big person. Like, if someone is rejecting his business, there's 10 other people who are begging for it. He's not, right? He's what, there's the book, right? So good they can't say no, or so good they can't ignore you. Like that. There's that.
Okay.
But I think to a certain degree, I'm not going to say all out, but to a certain degree, anyone can dip into that audacity. They can take that step into, I don't care what you think. Like, you can reject me, there will be 10 other people. Even if there aren't, in a certain way, that's true. Like, the world is not scarce. There are opportunities out there. So even if you haven't maybe found those opportunities yet, but you're the kind of person who is like, I want the right opportunity. I don't need to deal with people who are like, I'm going to impress them, and then we start working with each other, and they're like, I don't like your personality. That doesn't help anyone. That doesn't help anyone for me to show too much. To show too little of myself and too much of, you know, just what I want people to see. You find that balance. You can play up certain things. I wouldn't say play down. I would say you can play up certain things. Don't try to play down certain things, but yeah, to a certain degree, like you have to be okay with people not liking you. If you're not controversial, then you're kind of bland.
Absolutely.
Nobody really cares.
Yeah, it's like the purple elephant theory, where in 100 elephants, if there is one purple elephant, you're going to notice, and it interrupts the pattern. But I think the trick is you don't make it so controversial that people are like, oh my God, why is this person dressed like this? But maybe play it up a notch with your personality. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so many speakers do that where they go, I need to be a purple elephant, so I'll do this big gimmicky thing.
Yeah.
I see that a lot. And I think it hurts me in a certain way, because when I used to, I'm a naturally kind of like comedic, non-serious person. I think that's like my natural setting was very unserious. Like everything's a joke, everything's fun and funny, but I got so aggravated when no one took me seriously. It's like, why can't I be fun and unserious, but also serious? Like, why can't it be both?
Yeah.
Because the reality is that everyone has to be both, right? Like if you're all work and no play, like that's awful. And if you're all play and no seriousness, you just don't get anywhere. So everyone has both. But for some reason, people don't like seeing that. So, and I don't know about if people don't like seeing that, but people don't like seeing it done poorly. And it's very hard to mesh those things because they feel like they're at odds. And so I think a lot of speakers, they know they have to grab attention and they have to be big and bold, but they take big, bold, gimmicky moves. And so instead of, showing something real about themselves and connecting emotionally in a vulnerable way and, being kind of bold and memorable in a way that feels very natural.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't feel like a costume. It doesn't feel like you said, it doesn't feel like they're trying to make a purple elephant. They just are. They are a purple elephant because everyone's a purple elephant. Everyone is unique. We're all trying to force ourselves to be a gray elephant, but we're all really unique, multidimensional people.
True.
And like kind of letting that flow naturally, it creates that standing out in a way that's good. It's going to be controversial. Some people are going to like you. Some people are going to hate you. Some people are going to just know you exist. But I think when you do the gimmicky, it undermines your message.
True.
Because you want to be taken seriously. Why are you showing up looking like a clown? Because I want to be fun and show people they could. But you've taken a step in the wrong direction. Like you're I don't want to say trying, like you look like you're trying too hard. It's because, again, I don't think effortlessness is the answer, but it's you look like you're wearing a costume. You look like you're using somebody else's tactic. You're using something else. You're just saying like, I need to get eyeballs at all cost. I see this a lot with like Kevin O'Leary. I just made a post about this. Kevin O'Leary is from Shark Tank. He used to wear like these black suits and he's very dour and very serious. And now he's been making all these TikToks with like these bright, crazy leopard print, mismatched. He looks really gaudy and garish and cheap. And it's so inauthentic. That's not his personality. There is nothing about that meshes with how he behaves, how he speaks, what he believes, what he says. Like it doesn't look right on him. Like it doesn't match his appearance. It's so incongruous that it undermines him. It ruins his brand. It's like a poison. He's trying to take advantage of, like the Alex Hormozy effect, right? Alex Hormozy he doesn't look like the kind of guy who's giving business advice, but he's giving business advice. But Alex's look works for him so well, and even if you might look at it and go it's ugly, but there's a lot of intention put into it. He's very intentional. that is, and it's so, it feels like an extension of him. Whereas, you know, like Kevin O'Leary, it's like, I'm putting on this, I'm wearing 4 watches. He has like 4 watches up one arm and 4 watches up the other arm. These are things that are just, they're so ridiculous. They're so outside the realm of normal. Like but they're also not, it's not like it's not like Adam Sandler, where Adam Sandler literally looks like he doesn't care. And I think that has its own problems. And I think we talked about this off of this podcast, but at least Adam Sandler, he's not doing anything that says, I'm trying. When you're wearing 4 watches, like that tells me everything you're wearing was thought out, and it's terrible, and it's inauthentic, and it's distracting and undermining, and it just goes against everything. Anyone can stand out authentically. You can there will be things that are bold for you, bold for your situation, that feel authentic, that feel just like if you just grew clothes out of your body the way you grow hair, right? We all have hair that just naturally grows out of our head. Like if you just grew clothes, like these would be just the clothes that grow out of you, that are just an extension of your internals. Like that is much more impactful. And you know, some people that is crazy and bold and out there, and it just feels so natural. And some people that is very, very, very simple and understated. You wouldn't even think that they're stylish, but they've just intentionally communicated who they are in a way that people connect to and they remember. Because right, we don't remember what people said, we remember how they made us feel. And so the way you dress, your aura, that affects how people feel. And when it feels fake, people feel that. When it feels real, even if it's not, you know, Instagram worthy, even if you wouldn't get 1 million likes on Instagram, it's kind of boring, but it's cut right, it fits your body, it fits your message, it fits your vibe. Like it feels like an extension of you, then that emotionally emanates and resonates with people. And it backs up your message, and it multiplies your message. Like it just like it 10x's everything. Everything's a force multiplier. I'm sure you know this. Every new skill that you take on in speaking is like a force multiplier. It's not like I didn't get 1 notch better. I multiplied everything I'd done until now by 10, right? Like, and then I add another thing, and that multiplies everything by another 10. And it's like it keeps expanding, and it expands so much faster and farther and more. And everything backs everything else up. And yes, like style, self-improvement, like they're all part of that same system. Or like fitness. These are all things that they work together. They work together, but they only work together if they're all serving the same goal. And if that goal is a good one. So if your goal is, you know, being communicating who you are and your positive qualities, and not just your positive qualities, but just the reality of who you are as authentically as possible, then, you know, fitness isn't just vanity, and style isn't just vanity, and being a good speaker isn't just acting. It's serving something, right? I feel sad today, but I'm acting happy, not because I'm pretending and I'm fake, but because that's what this calls for now, right? Like
So it's like, don't do it for attention, rather style with intention, which is important. Like today you could have chosen to wear a pink shirt and a pink suit, or that would give you a lot of attention. But right now what you're wearing, it looks very chic, it looks nice on you. So I get that.
Look, I'm in my office. I work from home. I'm not sitting here in a suit. I wear a suit every weekend for Sabbath. I wear a suit every weekend with a tie to synagogue. Like that is the time in my life when a suit is contextually appropriate.
Yeah.
But for most of my day to day, it's definitely more casual. Now, for me, I want that to look more refined. I want that to look a little bit more rebellious. or have those notes. And that doesn't mean that someone else has to look at me and see me as rebellious. It's more, I see it, I feel it.
Yeah.
Nobody else has to really read that per se. And yeah, like you said, it would be weird if I showed up dressed to the nines. I'm sitting in like my little office, in my office space. I live 10 minutes away. Like I don't, yeah, I mean, there's other things I could have worn, but to be too extra would feel extra.
Yeah.
It just would feel extra. I'm not here to be extra. Like I'm here to like look the best for the context that I'm in.
And walk me through the different archetypes you were talking about.
Yes. So, like I said, I came across this from Tanner Guzzi. His 3 archetypes are rugged, refined, and rakish. I replaced rakish with rebel. I think it's a term that people understand more.
Yeah.
And yes, I've spoken with Tanner. He's okay with me. And again, me and Tanner have very different views on a lot of things. So, you know, my approach to style is I'm not just ripping him off. I have a lot of other, first of all, systems and viewpoints and, you know, ways that I see the world.
Yeah.
But the archetypes are like rugged, refined, and rebellious. So I think we all kind of know what we don't like, and the challenge is knowing what we do like. And again, like I said, most people think of style as like a suit, but we see tons of stylish people all the time, and I think we know that they're stylish, but we don't know why. So the archetypes, they describe 3 different, well, they describe you, but they describe you in a way that connects to other things. So my system that I use is called tools, subject, audience. The tools are the tools and rules of style, like just understanding, you know, fit and color and, you know, just like the actual tools. Subject, which is who are you, your subjective experience, what do you want to say, right? That's all that internal stuff, your internal world. And audience is, you know, who are you speaking to? Like, who is this message for? Who do you want to affiliate with? Who, you know, like, what do you want to be a part of? It's still kind of like what you want, but it's, you know, or what are you a part of? Because that's also a part of it is, you know, we might not, like I said, right? Like I live in the Orthodox Jewish community. So like that is part of my audience. Like I have to think within that realm. Like that's a context of mine. You know, other parts of audience might be like, what do you do for work? And, you know, what's your friend group? Like it's a little bit of the overarching outside forces, not what every individual person in your life thinks of what you wear or thinks of you, but the overarching just external world.
Got that.
And yeah, and the archetypes apply to all 3, and they almost connect each of them. So the archetypes as a tool would be, you know, walking through a garment. Like let's say here, grab a picture. This guy, okay? There's a refinement to the fact that this is a button-down shirt. Like button-down shirts are more refined, right? But it's kind of relaxed and it's made of a rugged material. So there's ruggedness, right? It's a rugged piece. Yeah. And it's unusual. It's got some unusual details. This isn't something you'd see all the time. Depending on the context, this could also be very rebellious, right? Okay. So that would be within tools. You can look at any garment or any outfit and look at the components of it and use these words to describe the components. When you're looking at subject, you're looking internally. When I imagine myself, do I imagine myself as more of a rugged man? Do I imagine myself as more of a refined man? Do I imagine myself as more of a rebel?
Okay.
And right, like, how do I see myself? What is like my character? And most you're generally gonna have a mix. Yeah.
Yeah, but tell me the difference between rugged and rebel according to you. Like, I think they're fairly similar. So,
Okay,
what do you think? Yeah.
So, rugged is about physicality, physical labor. It's very rooted in the real world, so it's very concrete. So it doesn't always have to just be like physical labor, but it's very rooted in reality, right? It's not so concerned with, let's say, imagination.
Okay.
Right? And like I said, you could be rugged and rebel, and so you could have multiple facets, right? You're not one thing. But like, what do you lean the most towards? What do you connect the most with? But yeah, ruggedness is like that capability, physical capability. That it's much more concerned with the physical world.
All right.
Refinement is interested in hierarchy. It's interested in like if you think about things that are refined, right? Like money, kind of more like white collar thought labor. Like what makes something refined is like beauty, like cleanliness, like crispness. Like the rugged guy isn't so concerned with that, right? The rugged guy might like the paint spattered jeans.
Yeah.
Like the refined guy isn't wearing paint spattered jeans. Like his jeans are, dark wash, like crisp. And the rebel is more related to the refined archetype, actually. It's the guy who knows the rules. He knows the rules, he knows the social structures, but he wants to rebel against them. And I'm not a fan of like the rebel without a cause. I'm much more of a fan of the rebel with a cause. So like, if you want to rebel, like find a reason to rebel. Like there should be something that you see that's not right. But the people who see differently, like most of the people who get online and they're like, the guys in the fitness industry where they're like, everyone tells you this, but it's wrong. This is what's right. Like that's rebellion, right? You read all the magazines and they say this, and then one dude just comes out and he says like, I don't care if I'm one guy against 100 years of fitness magazines. They're full of garbage. Like this is the truth. So the rebel is like a truth teller, or it's creativity, right? Creativity is an art of truth telling.
I get
it's
that.
Like
when I think of
individuality.
No, I was saying that when I think of rugged, it's Brad Pitt comes to my mind, and when I think of refined, I think of Ryan Gosling, and when I think of rebel, it's probably Adam Sandler or Jonah Hill. I think that is something that I'm visually imagining.
So I think it's funny. I don't think of it as specific people. Like I would almost see it as more characters. So like Brad Pitt can do all sorts of things, right? Like this is a very, here, let's see if this even comes up. Come on. Like this is a more rebel outfit. It's got like a leather trench coat. Like it's unusual pieces. It's very attention grabbing, right? The rebel might be more colorful or wear something that's more avant-garde and unexpected. But like Brad Pitt in a suit, like he's gonna look very refined. It's gonna pull him refined. He's a celebrity. Like he can look very, very cleaned up. I think what you're touching on maybe a little bit is like his essence. He definitely has a little bit of more of that.
I think so. Yeah.
Like natural essence, but it's with the archetypes, it's more like, what am I leaning into? I have these different parts. Like here, Brad Pitt looks refined. There's nothing he's wearing that is rugged. And it doesn't look unnatural on him.
Okay.
He's able to do refined. So I would think about it less maybe as people or actors, and more like think more like a role, maybe like a specific character they played. So yeah, like Brad Pitt in Troy might be more of the rugged archetype, right? He's like a soldier. Whereas like Brad Pitt in what have I seen with Brad Pitt lately? Oh, well, like Brad Pitt in Fight Club is the rebel, right? Brad Pitt in Fight Club is like the quintessential rebel.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen Fight.
No, I've
Tyler
seen
Durden
it.
is Tyler Durden, Brad Pitt, like that's a quintessential rebel character. So it's, I think it also helps you see it helps you see men a little differently. I think it helps you see yourself a little differently. For me, again, like I always felt very like much like an outcast and like there was something wrong with me. So when I found out, when I came across the rebel archetype, I just resonated so strongly with that because it was like, oh no, this is a normal way to be a guy. Yeah. Like this rugged, refined rebel. Like, oh, I'm not an outcast. I'm not a weirdo. Like this is a normal part of the world. I'm just a rebel. Like that's just like, I'm just connected to this, like just truth telling. I don't mind standing out. I don't mind being different. I just need to know that like it's for the right reason.
I got that. And so tell me about texture as well. I mean, texture is also a big part of styling. What are your thoughts on texture? Yes. Like today you could have worn a black shirt, but you wore something on top as well.
Yes. So that is already touching into the idea of like some of the style levers, some of the ways that we can do style. So that would be within tools. One of the tools would be texture. And I think, one of the common tools that men lean on is color. Well, first of all, men tend not to lean on anything. So, but the guys who do try to stand out more, here, I can even stop sharing this. The guys who do try to maybe dress more, I wouldn't say dress better, but dress louder or whatever. They tend to lean on color a lot.
Yeah. And
that sometimes works. Usually not. But texture is a much subtler approach to creating interest in what you're wearing. Okay. It also helps color a lot. So a lot of colors when they're solid, so like if you wore like a red t-shirt, there's like a flat kind of cheapness to it. It doesn't look good because it's too like flat. But if you made that like a red, very textural sweater, the texture makes the color work better. So there's a lot of ways that texture is helpful. I'm trying to like frame it to make it more like accessible and not just saying random stuff. But yeah, the levers that you can pull with your style that you can like use to think about how you dress. So fit is a big one.
Okay.
Right, how your clothing fits. So you could wear 3 different all black outfits, but they each fit differently. And so they each create a different impression. You could play around with, like you said, so there's 2 parts to color. So one of them is color intensity, how bright or muted a color is. And the other one is color contrast. So the colors that you put together, how much do they stand out against each other?
Yeah.
Fit, color intensity, color, texture, pattern. Guys love pattern. A lot of guys lean into pattern. They'll lean into pattern and color, but pattern and color can look really, really cheap if you do them wrong. Pattern, color, formality, how formal or casual, and my brain, and conformity, how much you want to fit in or stand out.
Okay.
And you can adjust those on a day-to-day basis. Like when we were talking about, showing up to the meeting, when you look at that meeting and you go, oh, this is a place I should ramp up conformity. Okay, I'm going to conform more. I want formality and conformity to be high. Whereas somewhere else, low conformity and formality might be, more advantageous. But it's about knowing, when to play around with each of these, turning them high or low. So most guys, I would say, when they're thinking about their style, they're mainly playing with color and pattern.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily looking good, but they're like, there's almost, you almost have to respect them because they're being like very brave, because they're looking bad and they're going to get a lot of comment, but they're just not, they're like, oh, I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
And there is like a flex to that, but I do think that there's more of a flex when you do it well. Like when you have good style, don't think that like people stop criticizing you. You just don't care. Like you just don't, you just know that you're on the right path.
True.
Like if you gave a speech and some rando just gave you feedback on it, you'd be like, I don't care. Like I literally work on this all day. But if another speaker who you admired said something, you'd be like, okay. But the speaker who you admired is probably not going to come and rip you apart.
Yeah.
They're going to come with passion. They're going to be like, hey, your speech was great. I really liked it. Like I remember when I was, whatever, like, is it okay if I give you some feedback? And you're like, yes, please. Right? The people who criticize, they don't know what they're talking about. So
True.
when you're kind of bold in a tasteless way, you're not going to get that positive feedback from the people who know what they're talking about. They're going to kind of like,
Yeah.
But the people who don't are going to give you all the garbage, but you're like, I don't care what you think. So you do have that piece of it.
I get that.
And yeah, but I think like what you asked with texture, I think 9 times out of 10 texture is going to be a better lever to lean on if you want your clothing to look more interesting without it having to be very bold. I have a client who is much more he's much more introverted. He's not looking to be the center of attention. Mm-hmm. And so when we were working together, that was a big focus. I did like a lot of neutrals, like a lot of just navy and gray, a little bit of brown, a little bit of fatigue green, a little bit of just very, very little color.
Yeah.
And I focused a lot more on texture.
Mm-hmm.
And so his outfits look really good. Nobody's going to be he's not going to be necessarily turning heads. He doesn't want the attention.
Yeah.
He doesn't want that negative attention, but unconsciously people are seeing him more competent. They're seeing he looks more put together. He looks more professional. He looks more, competent, warm, approachable, but not in a way that goes past his kind of boundaries of who he is. Who he is might evolve, and that's great. But I think texture is very, very underrated. And if you're someone watching this and you're maybe more introverted, maybe anxious,
mm-hmm.
maybe that's why you came here to Sumit, because you resonate with his awesome transformation. Think about texture.
Okay.
It lets you create more interest and intrigue without needing to be so bold.
And would you recommend some books on styling? Or rather one book?
One book. It's so funny. I never read so many books. I was a big YouTube person. I love YouTube.
What about
YouTube?
Which YouTuber then? Which YouTuber would you recommend for styling?
I love, like I said, Tanner Guzzi.
Okay.
He does what I do. He actually was the person who showed me that this was even possible to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel weird recommending him because he has just so many great ideas, and we're very different people. I think we attract very different men. So if you're someone who would benefit from working with me, I think you'd benefit from learning from him, but he may not be, who you would run to. But I think he has a bigger body of work, and he articulates things really well.
Okay.
And I think it's also good to hear ideas that maybe you don't agree with. So I think he has a lot more of, like I said, with this psychological approach. So I think the psychological approach is better than the just tactical approach. If you're thinking more like tactics, just YouTube, Instagram, they're full of style people.
Yeah, but anyone specific?
I think Real Men, Real Style has a lot of really great information. I definitely learned a lot from him. Aaron Marino is definitely interesting. He's an acquired taste, and he's very salesy. So you have to know that going in. Every video is trying to sell you something, but there's information there. I think the reason I have a hard time recommending is because a lot of the channels are teaching you mini tactics, and they're not really giving you a map and a full picture.
True.
So I spent an incredibly long time just building this body of knowledge by just learning so much and having to go through like just so much video and so much learning and then practicing it. And I think that's why it's so much more valuable to work with someone like the work that I do, for someone to work with me or to, in whatever capacity, to have that guidance of like, this is what you need, because you don't always know what you need. And so when you go out and you just get like little mini snippets of advice, it might be new to you, but it might not actually be relevant to you. Okay. But you don't know enough to know that. So yeah, I have a hard time recommending. I think Instagram is a great place to go for inspiration. I think there's a lot of creators you can learn from, but the education side, like the core education side, I think it's definitely worth it to like really learn from someone. Like maybe it's not even important who, but just to pick one person and really dive deep and then move on to the next person.
Okay.
And of course I have to recommend myself, of course.
Yes, that is, yeah, definitely.
If you want help, like really understanding who you are and, you know, how to dress for that, so that for all areas of your life, so that wherever you show up, you're you're recognizable, you're memorable. Go check out my LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'll drop those links.
Reach out to me there. But there's so much style content out there. Mm-hmm. There's so much, and you can learn a lot. And I think that's great. If you have the time and energy and drive and interest and, you know, and you, I don't know, like that's how your brain works, where you can take a bunch of little pieces and puzzle them together, then great, like go do that. Like I did that, I DIY'd it, you know, but I spent like 15 years.
I get
like
that.
It was such a long journey. It was so long and so difficult. And I had to wait so long to get to a place where my style was good.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, there are all sorts of great resources out there. I think they become more valuable when you understand the basics, when you understand the underlying, then you can go back there and that almost makes it more valuable than trying to piece it together from like you're trying to, it's like you're like, it's like, I think I gave a food example when we spoke the other time, mm-hmm. But it's like having a little spoon of garlic powder and then a little spoon of onion powder and a little spoon of like raw chicken and then some like hot oil, right? You're not eating the food, you're not eating the recipe. Like if you read the recipe card and ate the meal, then if you ate the meal and then read the recipe and then went out to like cook something else, like you would understand cooking better. But just like getting the components, getting the pieces, it's not so valuable when you don't have like the skill to connect it.
True, it's like learning swimming. You can't just read a textbook about swimming and just expect yourself to swim. You have to actually dive into the pool. So I think same with styling. And my final question to you is, if you could have a 30-second phone call with your high school self, what would you say to him?
Your feelings aren't facts, and you aren't your feelings. Just because you feel insulted doesn't mean they have insulted you. And just because you feel left out doesn't mean that they have gone out of their way to leave you out. Yeah, I think that would be a big part. And also, like, be proud of what you like.
Be proud of what you like. I like that.
Like lean into who you are. Like, you're not going to be anyone else. Like I work, I'm not someone different. I'm more me. Like I was working so hard. I was trying to use style to be someone else. And on the other end, I'm just the more me, the most me that I have been able to achieve at this stage in my life. And like there's just a much more accessible mountain to climb.
I get that.
It's so much. It's impossible to climb someone else's mountain. Like, be the most you.
Yeah.
Like you can spend your whole life trying to climb someone else's mountain. You'll get nowhere. And like the reason you want to climb their mountain is because they climbed their mountain. So just climb your mountain, and then you're them, but you're not them. Like you've done the thing that made them impressive and appealing, but now you're the one who's impressive and appealing in your own unique way.
I get that. And I love asking all my guests this one question is,
okay,
what is your dream?
What's my dream?
Yes.
I think my dream is to positively impact my dream is to empower myself through empowering others. I want to be able to, I want to sustain my life in a way through empowering people, through improving other people's lives.
Okay.
And I want to be empowering a meaningful life. Like I want to empower, my dream is to empower my own meaningful life through empowering others to live a meaningful life.
Okay. So helping people understand their own reality and helping you accept your own life as well.
Yeah. And I think meaningful. It's like I mean, I'd love to make a ton of money. I'd love for them to make a ton of money. But I think the things that I want, it's not about, like, I'm not looking to work with the guy who's like, how do I get rich and get the Lamborghini? Like, that's not my guy. Like, that's not me. Like, I love my Toyota Camry. I'm happy to live in just like a house that has room for my children. Like, I don't need the mansion. I don't need all the like finery. I want nice things. I think everyone wants nice things.
Yeah.
I want things to look nice and be nice, but like, if I don't have meaning, if it's not for something, then none of it matters. And I think, especially this day and age, there's a lot of opportunity for meaning to turn into success. And so I think, and a lot of people who are successful that are looking for meaning. So I think that being able to facilitate a meaningful life and, the most luxurious version of that meaningful life, but really with that as the focus, having enough time for my family, having enough like emotional energy to pour into my family, not burning myself out and not trying to just like catch up to everyone and chase everything that everyone else is interested in, like just helping the people in my immediate vicinity like live their meaningful lives.
Okay.
Through working with people to unlock that for them.
I get that. So in a way, you're already living the dream.
Yeah, I think, I'm not going to say it's not stressful, like we run businesses. We still need to financially support ourselves. I think it's very easy to be all like woo-woo and like life is about so much more than money, but those things are still important.
True.
Like like not having money is not a higher virtue than having money.
I agree with that. I definitely do.
Like having nice things is not a lower virtue than like if you're a good person, you're going to do good things with what you get. And if you're not, then you're not. But yeah, like when you work on that and you focus on that, and that's like your goal, then as things change, you just change with it.
Money amplifies the person you already were. It doesn't change you, is what I believe.
Yeah. And if you don't know who you are, then money's just going to amplify that. Or if you're ignoring who you are, money's just going to amplify that.
That's a good perspective. So really thank you for your time, and I really appreciate the conversation we had.
Was it longer than you thought it would be?
It has officially been the longest podcast, but also one of the most interesting ones, because I got to learn about so many things, whether it's texture or how to dress yourself and why you should dress yourself better, and about context, which was very important. Something I used to always believe is, as long as I'm myself, people will come to me, but I think context is key in life. So thank you for all of this, Shlomo. And I will link all your socials. And to the audience watching this, if you found this podcast helpful, you can subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in another podcast.